All right, here we go. It's another episode. Episode 4? Is it 4? Yeah, let's go with 4. Episode 4. If I'm wrong, I'll go back and correct it. But I believe this is episode 4, and I don't want to go and open any of these tabs to go look. Anyway, I'm Rosville. This is Alliance Late Night, and I'm here to talk about professional wrestling, everything inside the ring, inside the promotions. I try to stay away from a lot of the gossip, but you know, it's everywhere, right? So I hope everybody's doing well, doing good. This Friday has been an interesting one for me. Don't really want to get that into it, but it definitely has been a challenging day. Let's just put it like that. What do they say? Life is lifing. That's what it is. Nothing I can't deal with, nothing I won't overcome. Do it all the time, every day. I got to the point where I'm at right now today. So it is what it is, and it's not what it's not. But we're going to jump into some wrestling right off the bat. Going to try to keep my recording time somewhere in the ballpark of what I like. An hour at the most. Try not to go that long if I don't need to. Before I get started, I want to say shout out to the Alliance blog, the other Alliance Guys podcast, and that whole crew. Everybody's been real cool with me doing my thing, giving me pointers, putting the word out. Some networking's been going on. I've been in contact with some other gentlemen that want to start their own podcast, and they're asking me for advice, which is crazy because technically this is only my second YouTube channel ever working on, and the other two were really short-lived. They had nothing to do with professional wrestling. And I won't really get into what they were about, but they weren't related. So it's humbling. It's I don't really have the words. It's kind of moving, I guess would be the word. That somebody would reach out to me when I'm just getting started, and they have looked at what I'm doing, and they think enough of what I'm producing to go, hey, let me ask this guy for some help. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, you guys over there, J Cal, DKM, Jaden's crazy ass, Jeremy, and I'm missing like 2 names. Don't be mad. I'm on the fly. Back to the script over here. We're going to be talking about Ase Wrestling. I watched this week's episode. I had to watch it, the playback, because the other Alliance Guys podcast comes on at the same time as Ase Wrestling. And this week I didn't want to do the toggling back and forth just because I like to participate in the chat. So I just watched the playback this evening, and it was a really good episode. I hope, before I continue, I hope everybody can hear me. I know I'm not live. I'm looking at my mic aux line in it, and it's giving me a pretty good read. So I hope that when the playback happens, I'm not at a whisper. But the first match for Ase Wrestling with some familiar names, we had Charity King versus Kiera Hogan. And both of these female athletes get down. I thought the match was strong. The tempo and the progress is really good. I didn't really see anything to critique. You know, like I don't come on here to tear down everybody's match and dissect and all that stuff, but I pay attention to those things, and I didn't really see any flaws with this match. It was a back and forth, really what you would like in a professional wrestling match. Not a bunch of what was that, or pulled punches. Did this look like this was good professional wrestling. Here are my notes. There was something that caught my attention during the match, and I really don't ever pay attention to this, but there was one particular pin attempt during the match, and the referee was all the way on the other side behind the two women in the pin position. Well, if you're looking at shoulders being pinned, how can you see it from behind them? Just thought it was weird. I didn't see anything else like that throughout the rest of the card, but it's the little things, right? I'm not going to give away the ending of the match because, again, for those of you who haven't watched the episodes or anything that I review, I don't want to give away the endings. I mean, if you're following online on X or Facebook or whatever, and you follow these promotions, then you're already going to have the results anyway. But I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But what I will say about the match is that it appears that Kiera Hogan is taking on the heel side of things. You know, it is what it is. I just thought that was interesting. I didn't know which one of those two women would go which way as far as that goes. Charity King, you guys know from the King Bees, NWA Women's Tag Team Champions. They've since separated and are setting out on their solo careers now. So best wishes to them in their ventures. Something else that took place during this was a video appearance by none other than Mark Henry. It wasn't in the venue. He wasn't there during the recording, but he sent in a pre-recorded statement, and basically what he was doing was giving a congratulations and props to Ase Wrestling and Darius Lockhart and the rest of the crew for getting this promotion established and understanding what it means for black athletes in the business, and just overall just giving them their kudos. And I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, if you don't know, D'Lo is one of the announcers or one of the commentary guys in Ase Wrestling, and they had their ties back in, I guess it was still WWE before. This was after the F got out. Nation of Domination. That was a long time ago when I think about it. That was a long time ago. I think I was still living at home with my parents when that happened. But anyway, moving on, the next match they had was Team Carolina versus Team Georgia. Now, I have notes because there's a bunch of names and I don't want to miss any of them for this. Now, let's see if I have this right here. Rayhan Intuis, I hope I got that name right. Yaya, Ian Maxwell, and Movie Mike. Some of you may know that name, Movie Mike. I've seen him around a few times now outside of Ase Wrestling, if I'm remembering correct. And that's Team Carolina. And for Team Georgia, we have the Pan-African World Champion Shug D, Owen Knight, Ashton. I don't know what I wrote on the paper. Ashton, we'll just go with that. And Trevor Aon, that's Team Georgia. Now, the reason I wanted to get these names right when I covered this is because I saw some moves happening in this match that I have never seen before. I would further say that these moves that I saw were much better suited for a tag team situation, but because this was a team play kind of thing, they did work it to where certain participants had their alone one-on-one time in the ring. They did it really well to transitioning. I thought that was done pretty good. But there was two moves that really stuck out. One was usually one guy throws his opponent into the turnbuckle, right? He turns around, flashes himself back into the turnbuckle. Usually, the one who just slung that opponent into the turnbuckle, he comes charging in, usually leading with the shoulder, right to the stomach, right? That usually is followed by grabbing the top ropes or grabbing the middle rope, lowering, and giving a few more of the shoulders to the gut. What I saw here was the whip to the corner, the opponent coming back and doing a complete splash in between the middle ropes into the midsection of the opponent. And when he did it, he whipped himself back out and ended up outside of the ring. I had never seen anything like it. Never. Maybe it's happened in New Japan. I don't see New Japan unless it's highlights. I don't watch it on TV. And I believe they just discontinued their American TV coverage contract with Axis. So I don't know. Maybe it's been done there. But it was an attention grabber, and the crowd was into it. The second move that I saw done by the Team Carolina side, old school move, right? You sling your opponent into the ropes, he comes back, overhead body toss. Instead of that, two of the participants on the Team Carolina side, one guy slings the opponent he slings his partner into the rope, throws his partner body toss over, he spins in the air, lands on the splash on the opponent. Now let me go through that again. Two members of the same team, one guy slings his partner into the ropes, back body toss, overhead body toss, went in the air, spins around, lands flat on the opponent. Never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. The rest of the match, it kind of went into the big man versus the big man, this guy calling this guy out. Then everybody got in at one time, and it was a, hot mess, but calculated. Again, people at this point had their opportunities to go one-on-one in the ring, highlighting those two one-on-one. And the end of the match, it appeared that the guy was going to go for a dive off the top rope into the outside, with everybody standing there waiting for this to happen, right? Which that catches a lot of flack, right? A lot of flack from a lot of veterans in the sport. But he shocked everybody, swerved everybody, turns around, does a splash on the opponent in the ring that everybody completely forgot about. Again, it was pretty solid match. There was some things in there. I'm not really for the what they call it, like a storm tag team match almost, where there's just so much going on and everybody's in the ring. I don't really care for that personally myself. But this was put together pretty good. Highlighted all the talent. Everybody had an opportunity to show off and showcase what they brought to the table. And because of that, I'm looking forward to all these participants working their own programs amongst whoever they end up working with. It was a clear display that there's something worth watching once that is established in the near future. Let's see, what else do I have on my notes here? Okay, yeah, that was the main event. Now, over at Ase Wrestling, unlike all the other promotions, they end their shows with a live performance from a music artist. And this particular artist is Braxton Bateman. And he was a trumpet player, or he is a trumpet player, and he uses what they call a talk box when performing. Now, the jazzy, soulful track that he led off with was it was on point. If you're a music lover, I'm not even going to say if you're a soulful music lover, if you just love good music, you will appreciate this track with him doing his trumpet, playing his trumpet during this track. It was nice. It was something I like. It was something that my dad would like, The second track, he uses the talk box. What is a talk box? Some of you youngsters may think the talk box is auto-tunes. No, it's not. It's not auto-tunes. It's not even anything remotely close to it whatsoever. There's been some rock bands, and I can't recall the names off the top of my head that have used the talk box before, but it's mostly known by the group Zap or the artist Roger Troutman. Songs like Computer Love, it's a tube that goes into your mouth, goes into a machine, and it alters your voice. But in order for that talk box to be any significant use to you, you actually have to know how to sing, and you actually have to know how to play the instrument that would change the pitch of your voice through the machine. And you don't see that very often, especially in live performances now. You just don't see it very often. It's more of a studio thing, especially West Coast hip hop. You'll hear it in West Coast hip hop. And I thought this was pretty cool. I think the live performances at the end of the show is a nice touch. It just adds another dimension to their promotion and their identity and what sets them apart from everybody else. Not to knock anybody else. If whatever package any other promotion is using out there that's working, keep going with it. I don't want to see anybody copycat because it's just not going to be the same. There's no way anybody can mimic or copy what's going on at Ase Wrestling. It's like going to a Catholic church one Sunday and then going to a Black Baptist church the following Sunday. They're not the same thing, and they never will be. I look forward to more of what's to come from Ase. Per the episode that I watched, they will not be streaming next week, or at least there won't be a new episode next week. I believe that's what it said, but there would be something in its place or something of that magnitude. Go ahead and check them out. Ase Wrestling, Facebook, X, and YouTube. I don't know why I was going to say Xbox. Like I touched Xbox whatsoever. Anyway, moving on. We're going to talk about the NWA. But before I get to that, like I made all these little things over here to demonstrate what I was talking about. And I'm so used to just talking to the microphone and camera, I forgot that I have my nice little transitions in there. See that? Episode 3, Ase Wrestling TV. There you go. YouTube and all that. That's every week. And even next week, with them not having a new episode or whatever the case may be, I still would say if you are not hip, if you have not taken the time to check them out, just go look at their channel. See what the product is like. Kind of catch the vibe. It's a vibe. And I can't always put it into words exactly what it is. You just have to experience it. So that's that. Oh, look at me getting cool with the transitions. They say iron sharpens iron. My buddy's over there getting sharper with his channel. I'm stepping mine up too. Now, my next step is to take out this whole background thing. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to move my desk. I'm on wheels, so I can kind of move it around or wherever. Might move it over in the corner. Black backdrop or something. I don't know. I'll get there when I get there. But moving on. Next, we're going to get into the NWA. And let's just get first things first. This was the last recorded match featuring Jax Dane. I get emotional thinking about his passing, especially when it comes to his family, because I have a son and many of you have kids. So in that way and in that capacity, it was a little moving to see him and to think about his family viewing that more so than me viewing the match. So it was in front of me. It was going. They were moving, but I kind of wasn't into what they were doing as much as I was into my thoughts about, thoughts and well wishes, with the family. And I can't imagine what that is like moving on forward from that, because for me, I have my parents. My grandparents are gone, but that's not your mom and your dad. So again, I'm processing that through my mind from that dynamic, from that angle. But it was nonetheless, it was good to see him in the ring. Maybe some of you can relate to. I couldn't help myself but looking at Jax and watching his movement to see if I saw any signs. Like, were the signs in front of us, and we, as we're just fans. We're not his co-workers, so to speak. We're not his fellow wrestlers. His fellow teammates, so to speak. But I couldn't help myself but watching and wondering if I was missing anything. Again, I kind of was just distracted in that way with the match, more than just taking the match for what it was. But again, rest in peace, the Dane event, Jax Dane. It's going to be missed, definitely. And again, I hope that the roster just takes the situation and harnesses it and turns it into a positive for themselves, with their personal, goals and admirations in the business, and also, with the promotion of the National Wrestling Alliance, just to want to step up just that much more and give it just a little bit more, Think you understand what I'm saying? Moving on, we have the Jake Dumas and Zion versus Carino and Joe Ocasio. Joe Ocasio can go. I think that Joe Ocasio should be put into the bundle with himself, Mike Mondo, Judias, since he's returned, and Boz. These are heavy hitters. Similar builds, similar striking. I think you understand if you just think about the looks of them and their in-ring personas. They have something there. There's a program there. It's right there with those people. But nonetheless, this match, again, Jake Dumas and Zion versus Carino and Ocasio, it was a really good match. It was really solid all the way through. I mean, Carino's been top notch as far as I'm concerned since he's arrived in the NWA. I don't care for the hardcore stuff that he has done or sometimes tries to implement into the NWA. I don't really care for that. Outside of that, he's been pretty solid. I mean, if we're going to look at who set the standard for that junior heavyweight division, is him, Kerry, and Alex Taylor. Again, when we're talking about or we're critiquing the NWA, we're rarely talking about the talent. Very rarely, because the NWA has it. Side note, trains harder. Tyler, is it Tyler Shoop? I hope I got the first name right. The first name. I know the last name's right. He made an appearance in AEW. He already leapfrogged from the NWA JCP to AEW. I don't know if it's a deal. Probably not. Probably some type of tryout. Perhaps ongoing. But I wanted to mention that before I forgot it. He's leapfrogged from the NWA JCP to AEW. As soon as I saw this guy and heard this guy on the mic, I already knew he's not going to be in the NWA too much longer. He has it. When he talks, it's second nature. When he's in the ring, it's second nature. congratulations to him. And keep training harder. Harder. We have Markova and Nieves. I didn't really like the match. The match didn't go well as far as I'm concerned. And Nieves did some move from inside to the outside of the ring, landed on Markova some kind of way, and it looked like Markova was out of it. I mean, she was trying to move. She was trying to continue to demonstrate something, and I will give both athletes credit for that. Once it was noticeable that something was wrong, they both tried to still make the best of the situation, but you could see clearly that Markova was hurt. And I also wonder if this was the case a few weeks back when we saw Nieves and Kenzie Page, where there was a throw into the outside ring post. I'm wondering if there was actually some contact there, and that's why we had such a convoluted finishing to that match with the outside interference. Markova comes out, the student at the outside of the ring, kick to the face. Just, yeah. I'm a big fan of Nieves, but if that match with Kenzie was a legit injury during the match, and we know, and it's been verified through some of the other podcasters over at the Lions Guys, that he was indeed hurt, and there was pictures posted on X. Gonna have to reel that in. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, and at the same time, Nieves, you're the Exodus Women's Champion. You're the standard. You're the one who shows the rest of the locker room how to do it and how to do it safely. So I'm sure everybody's talked and worked everything out, yada, 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 right? Whatever. I'm just some outsider with a podcast. At the same time, I don't want to see anybody get hurt and take themselves out of the game. Don't need that for your career's sake, for your health's sake. Health, most importantly. Be safe out there. Take care of each other in the ring. We thought we had a near scare some time ago with I believe it was with Tim Storm and Jax Dane, where we thought there may have been bad injury that occurred. Luckily, that's not what happened. But there again, things happen in professional wrestling, and there's a difference between unintentional and intentional. And I'm not calling this intentional. Not at all. Just be careful. Next match. We have Mims and Black. Well, we already went through that. So next segment is actually going to be the Daisy Kills segment for the interview. I like the tone that Daisy started out with. He sounded and looked like NWA at the old podium circa 1987. The conflict ensues after he talks his shit on the mic. Then you have Otis and Kratos come out and confront. They go at it. Talos comes out to even the odds. This was classic. This was classic NWA. My only critique, Talos. If you're responding to some people getting on your boy, Make those shots count. I was watching those punches. Make those punches count. Aside from that, it was a good move. I thought it was well thought out. Again, it reminded me of classic NWA, the Road Warriors against the Powers of Pain, or the Horsemen, or any tag team or any individual athletes at that time who were going at it. At any given time, something can go down out there at that podium. And usually when it went down, you were looking at this like, he's beating the crap out of him. That's what we want to see. Sometimes you got to be stiff. Work that out in the locker room, and after the segment's done, have a beer. Don't pull punches. But I give the segment 2 out of 3, 2.5 out of 3. We need more. We need more out of the playbook of the classic NWA while still maintaining the positioning in the here and the now. You have a playbook that's already written. Many decades of a playbook written. Refer to it. Kerry Morton and whoever the guy was, it was an okay match. It didn't really stick out to me that much. There wasn't anything wrong with it. I wouldn't call the other guy a jobber, and from what I understand, that's a disrespectful term that people such as myself, not in the business, who have never ran the ropes, we shouldn't really use it. So I won't call him that, but I guess a mid-carder guy. I'm not sure what promotion he came from in the territories or whatever. But again, it wasn't a bad match. It just didn't really stick out that much to me. Kerry Morton's growing on me more. When he first came in, I don't know. He just didn't seem like he hadn't established what direction he wanted to go. An attitude, a disposition. Therefore, he just looked like the son of, and he's in the ring. But he's come a long way since that. A long way since that. And the matches and some of the highlights that I see of the matches that he participates in outside of the National Wrestling Alliance even further pushes me toward liking him more. Let's see what happens here moving forward, because it seems like the junior heavyweight division is a little stagnant. I like Alex Taylor. But where's his competition? Let's get that moving. Let's get something set up. It's not hard to sit down and go, you two guys, and then you two guys, and then you two guys. This is going to go for 2 months. That's going to go for a month and a half. And then we're going to get to this guy. And then this is going to lead up to this. I know people who lie and cheat on their girlfriends and come up with better booking sometimes. I'm just saying. We got to work this out, because you have the talent. And right now with TNA and WWE putting themselves in the position, or putting TNA in the position for them all to be in a position, there's money over there. You guys better work it out while you have these guys, because I just feel like they're not going to be around very much longer. Not saying everybody's going to get signed with the WWE, but there's steps now. There's levels now where all those positions are not open on an ongoing basis in the big show, but you have levels now to go there. You have levels now to be on TV and be seen and be paid. Levels, and each level is a step up higher and higher. Exposure-wise, money-wise. Talked about it in my last episode. Are we going to see a vacuum effect from a deal like this? And will we have to see in the near future other companies merging? That's yet to come. we'll see. You know, we have people in locker rooms showing up at other promotions in the gorilla positions, talking to this person from other promotions that run another promotion. We just don't know. But it's a telltale sign. Money talks. And nobody wants to be out of business. Everybody still wants to be in the pie. So that was way beyond the match with Kerry Morton. But, you know, you think about professional wrestlers like himself and the WWE ID and NXT and TNA and the crossovers. It just, if I'm a promoter, if I was the owner and the operator of the National Wrestling Alliance, I would be tightening up everything with the territories. Because essentially the territories is your NXT. Powerrr is the big show. It's not, oh, we're going to bump you up from a territory and now you're on the main show, on the main roster on Powerrr. Powerrr is where you pass through because you're doing good in the territories. Don't copy the WWF or WWE. Oh, this guy's going to move up from NXT to SmackDown. Don't think that way about, oh, this guy's going to move from NWA JCP to NWA Powerrr. No, NWA Powerrr is just the big show. It's the main event. All the territories remain and function how they're supposed to function. And they should be getting down with the get down. So when it's time for the main event on Powerrr, we don't have to have all the explaining. It's the reiterating of who the talents are that we're seeing and why they have arrived at the main event. Just like the WWF, that's why I keep saying WWF, WWE main event. Operate how you need to operate, not how they operate. Last on the card was Latimer and Tyler Franks. This was the highlight of the night to me. This was a wrestling demonstration. If you were going to have a wrestling seminar and you needed to demonstrate how you have a professional wrestling match, this was it. I give a ton of credit to Franks for what he did, but I give a whole lot of credit to Latimer because they went through the paces, step by step by step by step by step. The pivot, the turnaround, the comeback, the conclusion. This was a demonstration of what professional wrestling is supposed to be. I feel like this match was better than watching him with EC3. The last two times. Just because it was a wrestling clinic. It wasn't, this wrestler is known for doing these moves, so let me get my moves in. And then you're this guy, so you're supposed to get these moves in. Let you go ahead and get through that. And then what? This is me personally, and everybody has their opinion, and everybody views wrestling from the lenses of what they were raised on that has formed their likes and dislikes. I like amateur freestyle wrestling, catch can wrestling, chain wrestling, classic NWA wrestling, minus chains and chairs. So to see a match like this between Latimer and Franks was just, again, it was what I consider to be a real professional wrestling match. No frills, no gimmicks, let's get down to it. Give me what you got because this is lights, camera, action. At the end of this thing, When I beat you, you have won. That's what this was. That's professional wrestling. That's how it should be done. Can we line some more up like this for Latimer? Matter of fact, line some more up like this to have that level of skill that Tyler Franks has. Line them up. And then when it's time, run them back. And then when it's time, those guys who didn't win, line them up against each other. So we don't have to continue to have tournaments to determine who's the number 1 and number 2 and number 3. This is how you establish them. You put them up against the best, they fall. When they fall back, who do they fall amongst? The other fallen that have challenged the champ. Now, one of those guys think that they're better than the guy who lost to the same person. Then steps. All right, that's what I have to say on that. Close out here. 2 things. We're going to talk about the NAWA. Some of you have no idea who that is or what that is. That is the North American Wrestling Alliance. Quite a few of the talents in the NWA have passed through that promotion. I'm not 100% sure who owns it, who books it. Something in me tends to believe that George South has a lot to do with the booking there. I don't know if he is the owner-operator, but he is the senior resident there. I give these guys a shot. I was watching them on a regular basis pretty much for about 2 months straight, at which point I really wasn't really feeling a lot of what I was seeing. So I took a break from it, caught some of the highlights. One of the highlights that I did catch was a match with an athlete by the name of Dre the GOAT. Outstanding performer, high flyer, creative and innovative in the ring. I shared his links on the Alliance Late Night Facebook page. You can look on my wall there and you can find him. He's so good, in my opinion, that in a recent post from Dave Marquez, he was asking what talent is out there that I should be looking at for possible bookings that I am not aware of. I made it a point to link this guy in. So I say that to say this. NAWA, not always my cup of tea, but there's gems. There's gems in this promotion passing through. A lot of these guys are out there wrestling in North and South Carolina, and they're wrestling multiple promotions. I just happened to catch them in this one. The presentation for NAWA is pretty solid. I mean, it's from a production standpoint, it has its formula, and that looks good. I like the look of their ring. They just got a new ring mat, new look. It's cool. They, of course, are wrestling and performing in gyms, and oftentimes, more than not, they have good, solid crowds that are into what they're watching. So I applaud them on that. There's plenty of other product out there in the way of other promotions that folks could be going to and checking out, and they're drawing them in to watch their shows. So although it's not always my cup of tea, they're doing something right by the standards of the individuals out there who spend their money and take their family to go see the shows. So I say that just to let you know I'm not always here to talk shit. Not always here to talk shit. But what we have here on the screen there is the NAWA Bunkhouse Stampede. Happened January 19th. You know the bunkhouse deal. You know what a bunkhouse is. This big smorgasbord of all these wrestlers. 1 ring or 2 rings or whatever. And they're going at it, battle royal style. That was the that was the heart of this particular event, was the bunkhouse part of it. However, they have this individual match here for the NAWA Heavyweight Championship. And you see there Big Donnie to the left, to the right, you see Silver Fox. I've seen both of these guys in previous episodes of the NAWA on YouTube. And Big Donnie, from what I can see, is used like a King Kong Bundy type of deal, right? And that's cool. I mean, you see, saw the image there. He's a big dude. To his credit, he moves more than Tyrus. You can go see for yourself. He moves more than Tyrus. I can't say whether or not I agree with him ever having that belt, because I don't believe that I watched enough to know exactly how he ended up with it in the first place. I think as long as I've been watching, he's had that title, that belt. However, with the climate and the temperature of professional wrestling right now, shaking things up and making sense is in. I mean, it's always been in. So if you're going to take steps to elevate your promotion, you have to transition. Silver Fox is now the new NAWA Heavyweight Champion. I haven't seen the match. However, the matches that I have seen with him, so. He's won some and he's lost some, which made it possible for him to win this match. It was possible because you just didn't know what could happen based on his prior appearances, his prior matches. Whether he won them straight or hook and crook, right? So what I'm hoping here is, since Silver Fox is now the new NAWA champion, that we will see a transition in this promotion to push and highlight more of the movers in their promotion. What I mean by movers, cruisers, lightweight, some of your high flyer guys, because those guys that I see who have those skill sets, they are the more talented ones in the promotion. I don't have the name of the individual right now, but the last time I checked, they're television champion, much like Dre the GOAT. High pace, high octane, let's move, let's groove, let's get down to it. NAWA just got picked up by High Spots TV. More eyes. If you're getting more eyes, you want to make sure that your product is at a standard where you're not turning off people. Your retention is getting better. You want to make sure you're in that position. So, congratulations to Silver Fox. I don't know if you cheated to win, but from the cut of your jib in this poster, in the last match that I just saw you lose to a guy probably like twice your size, it kind of leaves me to wonder, how did you get over Big Donnie? I'll be checking out the latest episodes to see just how all that happened. But I will continue to watch I will continue to plug the talent there that I believe have the capabilities to make it to the big show. There's some stars there now. There's some stars passing through. There's some guys who are refining their skill sets and developing who they are and becoming comfortable with being in the ring. Something in me tells me that that's going to become accelerated. I don't watch a lot of promotions that I think just don't have something. Matter of fact, there's a lot of promotions I will not bother with that I've watched once or twice, and no. You have to be working in the spirit of excellence. And again, I might not like everything that they're doing over there at the NAWA, but they're pulling the fans in. You can go watch the episodes for yourself. You can go listen to the crowds. The kids, the adults in those gyms, they are having a good time. That tells me something. So, Dre the GOAT, how that belt look to you? I'm just saying. I don't think Silver Fox can hang with you. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. I try to cover promotions that are on the come up, on the rise, doing their thing, deserve a little bit of attention, a spotlight, a flashlight, a few seconds, a moment. I know I'm nobody. I only have 7 followers, seven subscribers right now. Probably total of about 100 views. I'm nobody. But I love professional wrestling. And I'm going to keep highlighting those who I feel like need to be highlighted. And before we close out, before I started recording today, got a message. I was tagged in from J Cal. And to my surprise, this is what I saw. Now, what is this? This is NWA World Heavyweight Champion Tom Latimer making an appearance in Everett, Washington. Everett, Washington literally is about 40 minutes north of me. I used to live in Everett many, many moons ago. I was a young tycoon, young, fast, and reckless. That's for another podcast. But nonetheless, he will be making an appearance, and Peak Sports Entertainment is the promoter. I am not aware of who they are. Doesn't mean anything. Just because I don't know them doesn't mean anything. But it looks like they, I don't know if they're brand new or whatever. It doesn't look like it. Doesn't sound like it. I haven't seen any wording that says so. But nonetheless, tickets are available, ranging from $25.75 to $30.90. I saw something earlier that said that it was only general admission available at this time. And I am seeing something that says out of stock, so I'm believing that's for front row. That is correct. All the floor seating is sold out. I don't know how big the venue is. I believe it's a VFW hall up north. So it can't be too big. But I'm going to try my best to be there after I get done with this recording and getting it uploaded. I'll be bouncing around some money and purchasing a ticket and getting myself there. I'm interested to know who the promoters are, and I want to see the NWA in Washington State. My whole entire life, I've never been able to see any NWA booking here in Washington. As a kid, watching NWA 87, 88, and they would tell you whatever cities they were going to in the venues, they would say the Seattle Coliseum or the Seattle Arena. But in 87, I was 8 years old. And there was a lot of other things going on. And none of which was going to an NWA event because, let's face it, back then, a lot of parents only knew the WWF. So what was my first wrestling event? Seeing King Kong Bundy, Hulk Hogan, Big John Studd, and some other people at the old Seattle Coliseum, now Climate Pledge, formerly Key Arena, formerly I don't know what else. So I'm making moves to be there. When I show up, I will get some pictures and get as much content as I possibly can or will be permitted to get, and I'll be sharing it with everybody here on the podcast. Again, thank you, J. Cal, for tagging me in that because I didn't see anything, hear anything. Everett and where I'm at, they're two different worlds. Tacoma and Everett, two different worlds. Federal Way from Tacoma, two different worlds. Seattle to Tequila, two different worlds. And they're only about 25 minutes apart, each one of these little cities. You can relate down there in California. Like I never heard Inland Empire until I went to California, right? So good looking on that. And I definitely am getting ready to bust a move there. I'll be back next week, episode 5, right? That's what we said. This week is 4. Yeah. Next week is 5. Moving along. Try to do some more sprucing up with this podcast. I'm trying to add music into it for whatever reason. I can't pipe in any music into OBS right now, but I'll figure that out by the end of the night. For those of you who don't know, outside of this, I'm a DJ. I make music. I performed hip hop. I've been on radio stations, big raves, all that kind of stuff. Started as a rapper. Currently mixing house, drum and bass, electro, dubstep, stuff like that. So I have a music catalog of my own productions I can use for my intro music. I just need to figure out how to pipe it in and not mess up any other settings that I have because everything else is working just fine. Perfect. I'm Rosville. This is the Alliance Late Night Podcast. And I'm out of here.